everybody.
The lighting question you guys asked me about, was talking to the old trustee about the lighting before it came about last year. We was trying to get it in before last year, but what's going on is in the bays, the old, but, in the bays over the firehouse, we got lights starting to go out. The 4-foot fluorescents, which everybody knows, you gotta have a pain in the ass, try to replace the fluorescents, throw them away, get rid of them. By the time you go up in the lift, the balances are bad. Now you gotta find balances. Nobody makes balances anymore that matches our balances, they're outdated. So changing out the LEDs is gonna save money in the long run. And when you go up in the lift to change a bulb, you're going up to change a bulb. You're not going up there to change a ballast and try to find a ballast. We try to do it in-house. You got an electrician coming in to change ballasts out. I don't know how many lights were out in that day, but I think there was like 6 or 8 of them.
25.
There were 6 or 8 of them completely out. And there were four bulbs in each one of them. So go up there, check bulbs, don't the bulbs, then you go to the ballast. So it's time consuming, trying to get away from that too. The 2 bids I got was Car Electric and Brennan Electric. FD Lawrence gave me a price on material if we wanted to do it in-house. That's basically hanging a new fixture.
Brennan Electric was down $67.70 and $8,200 per car.
Yes, car, yep.
And then the other one,
That was
the Lawrence, is
FD
just
Lawrence was just
material
material.
only?
just material. That's just material, Dan. I'll make a motion, we go with Brennan, $67.70, get it done.
All right,
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Reiniger?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
yes,
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Checked on our dump trucks,
I have.
March. So hopefully they've got good air conditioners in them because we don't need them for winter. They're waiting on the bed still, so I don't know what that means, but it'll almost be a year, I think, in March since we ordered them.
waiting on, I'm sorry, Ron, I didn't hear you, they're waiting on
The beds
the bed.
to be put on it ready.
Okay.
You asked me to check Haley for the 1-year contract for county, give that bond up. Haley was the only thing left on that road to look at. The only thing was covered was one of the inlets was covered with their sacks still,
That's it, so we're okay.
which we can take up, so that's where it
Have you
could go.
talked to Debbie, or I send her email tomorrow?
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Okay,
I got you the bid for the tree on Buffalo Ridge. I guess they got that bid, because he called me and said they're gonna take it down the 25th. That's good with everybody.
yeah, I'm fine with it, did we just get the one bid, that, what was, $2,000, right?
I don't have a bid in front of me.
Yeah, I think I got it. Thought I had it. No, I don't have it with me. I thought I did. Yeah, we need it to be down, because they're getting ready to
I
start.
thought it was a good bid. I mean, I remember
I'm
taking
sorry,
the tree
what?
down and cleaning it up. I thought it was a decent bid.
No, I
I
did
thought it
too.
was very reasonable, so.
I did too. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we accept that. It's $2,000. I got
You
a
don't want to
copy
remove
for
that?
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was Buckeye Tree Service.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it is Buckeye. They've done work for us before too.
Yeah.
So I'll make that a motion.
Second?
Okay. Mr. Reiniger?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
John Ardor wants to give us a bid on redoing the park down there next year for spraying and weed control. Who is in contact?
Me.
Okay, I'm gonna give him your number just to give him some ideas what's going on. Because I know he reached out to Paul all the time and told him what was going on.
Yeah, let's give them my cell
All right.
and my email if you don't mind.
Catch basins are getting done. So Andy should have all them done before too long.
Awesome. Good deal. Have you been up there? Have you seen them yet? Have you been up on Pickway?
No, we're on Surreywood, they did one back on Affirm.
We got,
I
we
think we
got,
had 6 or 7 of them to do.
we got the one, what's this, that side street, Paul? I'm trying to
Bay
think.
Hill,
What is it?
Bay Hill.
Yeah. We got those
I
two,
got the one at the
right?
bottom, yeah.
Okay.
He's doing one at a time, I
Okay,
think
that's
finish them up,
fine.
so.
As long as he adds to it.
Yep. And that's really all I have.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Miller? All right.
On
thanks,
the
Rick.
roads with the snow, everything?
We had one snow call and it was a nasty one, just never quit.
That's no-
But it worked.
It was continuous,
Yeah.
what that was. All right, Marcia Heath, the senior center.
Yeah, Marcia.
Yeah.
Hi, Marcia.
Just a couple minor things. We've had the county community service division. Do you know, what is their actual name? Do you know?
What is it?
The community, the service that's coming down to the center. Ron Drexel
It's
or
probation.
probation?
It's probation that does community service.
Yeah, well, they've been coming down a couple times to clean and sweep and stuff.
They did the windows too, right?
Yeah, and they do an awesome job.
Yeah, so we got-
Maintenance, filled the salt tanks, so they're all ready to go. We have 37 people signed up to go to Charleston in April already, so that's
Oh,
pretty
that's
good, yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, February 4th, 16 people leave for the Caribbean cruise for 13 days. Me too. I want to know if it's okay if I can start getting bids for our retractable awning. That's been in the budget for what, 3 years now?
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
definitely,
To bring them next
Yeah.
time or something?
definitely.
Okay, and then, you know, it wouldn't be installed until spring, but I want to kind of get it ready. And, that's all I got.
Okay.
Got
Any
something for
questions
me, or?
from Mike, Jack?
No.
Any questions from the public? All right, thank you.
Good, that was easy.
So I'm putting at Staples. That was easy. All right, Mr. Brian Lacy, Chief Lacy, Fire Department.
I got a question, Chief. I thought in December, we thought we was gonna go make these color. What happened?
That's my fault.
That's what?
I take it. That's my fault.
She forgot to push the color button.
Okay. well, that's
Correction
helpful.
next month, promise.
Off the hook.
Saving money.
I thought December's wasn't colored.
It was.
It was, yeah.
We did one before that. I think Mr. Beck had asked during color so you can see the difference.
All right.
Yeah, so, get your email to you, so you should have a colored version in your email. So you should have received 2 reports. One's for December and the other one's the year-end totals. I'll go over December's first. Runs for December, fire runs, there were total of 34 fire runs for the month of December. EMS details, there was 162 calls for service for EMS. You can see we broke them down into different categories. Just to kind of give you a better idea too, not just with the pie chart, we went ahead and did a bar graph. Also, just so you can get a better idea of, you know, what kind of calls we're going to. We did have one of the runs in the non-breather category that I would like to discuss and possibly invite that person to the next next meeting. Again, like I said, non-breather, I'd like to invite that person
Right.
to the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
You see the medic coverage, what it was, that's a typo on the top of that, that actually should say December. The
Are those
training,
numbers right for Whitewater? The 89 runs?
that's your year-end total.
Yeah.
I'll get to that, yeah. You see the training for the month, we did do the GoComs course, that was the one that we did for the new officers and the officer training, tactical training and all that. It was a really, really good class. We had the chief of Green Township came over and sat in for a couple days with us on that training. And one of our guys is actually gonna go over to Whitewater Township and take it over there. So that was really, really good training. We had Doug Witzkin come out with the LAPC to go over the tier 2, the tier 2 material. Tier 2 material, if you're not familiar, any hazardous materials that we have inside the township. They have to report those. The LAPC is a group that handles that for them. So they report the quantities, what type of materials they are, all that. That information has to be sent to the fire department. The LAPC receives it, the fire department receives it, so we know what all the different companies have on hand, and if we get an emergency, kind of how to handle it. So he came out and did that, did that training for us. The last thing, the two things, December, we went down and delivered Santa Claus to the senior center, and we also assisted the Giving Tree with their giveaway. The very last page is a letter from Mrs. Stout. She's an employee at Noble Electric. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read that. She's basically, we had a fire in their complex. That complex holds 3 different businesses in it. She works actually for Noble Electric. There's G&G Roofing, and then there's another business in there. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But if you read it, you know, she's just thanking the fire department that their business, we had a fire there. Their business was virtually unharmed. They all got to continue working, you know, even though they had a pretty good fire inside their building. I'd like to thank Delhi Township and some of the other departments that came over and gave us a hand with that. They just did I'm gonna say they did an actually fantastic job. The actual owner of Noble Electric, they were sending him pictures while he was en route of the fire coming through the roof and smoke around the building. He said, I virtually was envisioning my whole business in shambles and me going bankrupt. And he said, when I got there was not even any smoke on any of my parts and stuff. So I think the crews just did a
That's awesome.
absolutely wonderful job. I think that's a really, really wonderful letter that lady sent us, and I appreciate that very much. The year-end report, I'd like to go over that. I seriously didn't know your things weren't in color, so they're not gonna make as much sense to you. If you look at the run totals per district, you're gonna see that in the unincorporated areas, Miami Township, we have 144, 16 in North Bend, 24 in Addison, 49 in Cleves. And then you're gonna see that we gave out total 152 runs of mutual aid. And like Mr. Renninger was saying, if you go to the next page, it's gonna show on there that 89 of those runs were into Whitewater Township, 39 Green Township, 14 into Harrison, and the other ones are broke down. The mutual aid runs are listed at the bottom in that bottom graph. The bottom graph shows you that out of those 152 runs, 102 of them we were canceled en route. So that's basically is a true definition of a mutual aid detail where we do have an agreement with the other fire departments and we are going to help them, and if we need help, they come in and help us. But 102 of those were canceling routes, basically just getting us there to beat the time crunch that we're under. The MS data for so we had that amount of runs. I don't know if I just said that. So if you look at that, the total amount of runs that we had, fire details for 2021 was 385 details for fire. Next page is going to show you the EMS details. You'll see that in the unincorporated areas, we had 985 runs, 435 into Cleves, 177 North Bend, 171 in Addison, and then the rest of them are broke down for a grand total of 1,813 runs for the year. So,
How much you up over last year, Brian?
if you go to,
280?
maybe, yeah, no, it's more than that. I think it says on the bottom here. Maybe I didn't put that on there. Yeah, it was like a little over 300 runs that we were up from last year. So, covering the same amount of area, same amount of personnel, but 300 additional more runs. We did something different this year. We broke the down by stations, so you can see which stations and how many run each station's going to. That's on the next page. The year-end report also includes how many part-time people we hired, the numbers we promoted. We started a wellness program and put that in there, some of the ideas that some of the people had for the wellness programs, the uniform stuff. The next one's one that I'm particularly very, very proud of with the department. to get a letter like we got from that lady is this next page. And that is that we did 801 hours of training in the fire department last year. I think that's knocking it
It's
through the roof.
awesome.
I mean, doesn't, to me, I think that says a lot, that's asking our crews a lot. Do that amount of training, do the responses they do, the inspections that they go on, all that. I mean, to me, that's phenomenal. The training is broke down. We started the agility test. All the firefighters that we go through do a national agility test. It's put on by a company called Ergonomics. We actually do it in-house. We don't hire them to come out, but it's basically agility test that Columbus, Ohio Fire Department started and said, here's all the different criteria that our firefighters need to go through. We put every one of our staff through that agility test to make sure they're capable to do their job. So we started that this past year, and all the firefighters went through it. The inspectors, we sent 5 people to inspector school over the last year. The officers training in there. We have a really, really stringent respiratory protection program. The respiratory protection program is broke down by the different areas. You can see that, when we bought our packs, we included to send our people to school to be able to repair those packs to save the township money. That's included in that program. So you're gonna see on there that, the SCBAs were tested annually, the SAR packs were tested. We got all of our firefighters fit tested. We did all that in-house. The next page is the fire investigation report. You're gonna see that out of all the fires in Miami Township that were investigated, it tells you exactly what they were and if they were left open or closed and if a determination was made. And pretty much all of them there is a determination on, which I think is good too. Last page, the social media. Mr. Robertson, especially you had asked me about the public information page. We have people where we update that information. We find an article or we post something on there, and we try to do that at least 2 times a week. And then public ed, we talked about public ed with the amount of car seats that we check, the babysitter classes that we put on in the summer, all that information's on there. I did get a request for to give out, or to see if I could give out a copy of my report. I would like to do that. I went to the citizen and requested that report.
Yes, go ahead.
I think
Okay.
so.
Anybody have
Sounds
any
great.
anybody have any
Question for the
questions
chief?
for me?
If I understood you right, you said we had 385 fire runs in Miami Township for the 12-month period last year.
That's correct. So when a fire runs, that's an engine or a quint response. It doesn't mean we actually had fires. That can be, what goes in that category is automobile accidents, smoke, fire alarms, all those go into that. Not
Okay.
just fire runs.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, one question, yeah. You said that the runs were up significantly last year. I mean, in your professional opinion, do you have any thoughts as to what might be causing that amount of jump in runs?
Yeah, honestly, I would say that probably COVID, and I hate to say this, I really hate to say this, I wish you wouldn't ask me, but we did away with the mask mandates. I think the mask mandate did more for the flu than it does COVID, in my personal opinion. And I think we're seeing a lot of flu cases right now, and over the past, especially in November and December. I think you're seeing a lot, if you look at the actual report, it shows that there was a lot of sickness runs and trouble breathing runs, which would be associated with both of those. That would be my answer.
All right, thanks.
Anybody else? All right, chief, thank you. All right, nothing from JJ Clark, West Park. Chuck, you get anything from Mr. Hughes?